Hello everyone, this is April with CraftKnifeChronicles, and this is the introduction to a video series in which I demonstrate how to construct the inside-out Halloween house. To start with, you need to download two PDF documents. There is a link in the description area below. One of them is the materials and cutting guide, and one is the templates. So go ahead and download those, and when you print out the templates, it's best if you can print them out on cardstock, because you will actually be cutting them out and using them for templates when we get to the decorative paper. So let's take a look at each of these documents in turn, and I'll start with the materials and cutting guide. The materials and cutting guide is a 4-page document. On the first page, it tells the materials and supplies and some tools that are needed. And then there are 3 pages of cutting. Some of it is for medium weight chipboard. Most of it's for medium weight chipboard. The first 2 pages, that's all it is medium weight chipboard. And then there's a little more medium weight chipboard on the last page, some lightweight chipboard. And then, just to help keep track of some of the black cardstock and pattern paper that's needed, I also listed those items as well. So let's take a look at some of the special materials and supplies and then the tools that are needed for this project. We'll start with the decorative paper. This is Pebbles brand, and the majority of that comes from the Midnight Haunting paper line. I used the 6x6 paper pad extensively. There's a lot of paper gone from this little pad. And then I didn't see a way to buy the sheets as a set. So the sheets that I bought, I'll just go through a list of the names. This one is, and they'll all be Midnight Haunting unless I say something different. This one is Hauntingly Beautiful. Pumpkin Plaid. This one is called Boo. Pumpkin Patch. This Dots is actually from their Trick or Treat line. It's called Haunted House. This one is called Whirling Leaves. That's what's on the back. That's why it's called that. Then Autumn Plaid. Spooky. And this may be from a different paper line of Pebbles. And then finally, Eyes on You. Most of the other things that are under the materials supplies column are pretty self-explanatory. This is the Tim Holtz typography. I think it was released in 2017. It's the Halloween letters. And then these are just little alphabet beads. They're a 1/4-inch bead. They have a hole and a letter, and then I just paint them with black gesso, and I use those for little stands for the monsters inside the house. Now, under the tools, I don't list every tool that you would have in your paper crafting set, just some special ones that I think are helpful. These are rulers that I use that have 1/16 of an inch marked on them. I use both a 1x6 and a 2x12. I use a fine line glue applicator, anything with a fine tip. Hopefully you can see how fine that tip is on there. That's really helpful for getting into small places. And people often ask me what glue I use. I use Scotch Quick Drying Tacky Glue, but glue is kind of subjective. You know, whatever works for you in your area or climate. It's handy to have a circle template with a 1 3/8 inch circle in it, but if you don't have that, you can use a compass and create a template like that. There are just 3 little dowels that get cut in this project, but if you have an X-Acto saw and a little miter box, that always makes the cutting of little dowels much easier. And speaking of cutting, it's a good idea to have lots of spare blades for your craft knife. I buy them in bulk from Amazon. I don't remember what brand this is, but you can buy them pretty inexpensively, and then you always have plenty of blades. Especially if you use the black cardstock like I did, that seems to eat up blades even more quickly. It may just be my imagination, but that's what it seems like to me. There are 2 dies I used in the project for the inside of the niches. Of course, you can put anything inside that you want. These are the Silly Monsters and the Village Graveyard. Those are new in 2017. And even though the cutting guide calls for black chipboard, and you'll see me make the project out of black chipboard, you can probably make it out of plain craft colored chipboard. There will be times when you would want to take a black marker so that you would not see that craft color behind things, but that's easy enough to do. Or you may just add extra finishing strips on edges to get that black look behind the paper. I do use a lot of score tape in this project. I don't list that on here, but having that available will be very helpful. I have many different sizes. In this project I used a lot of 1/4 inch, and you will find it very helpful to have 1/8 inch as well as other sizes if you have them available. And I think that's it as far as materials, supplies, and tools goes. The template set consists of 8 pages, and as I mentioned before, you will find it handy to print them out onto cardstock weight so that you can use them as templates. And there's just a page that goes for every section of the house, and then I think the only little accessory that has a template is the front steps. And I think that's about it as far as an introduction. So the video series starts with part 1 next, and take your time, enjoy the process, and have fun.